Welcome to Myra Fairy Tales.
Long ago, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a beautiful queen who longed for a child. One winter's day, she sat sewing by her window, which had a frame of black ebony wood. As she sewed, she pricked her finger with the needle, and 3 drops of blood fell upon the snow on the windowsill. The red looked so pretty against the white snow that the queen said softly to herself, "I wish I had a child as white as snow, as red as blood,
darlings,
and as black as the wood of this window frame."
My love for you both is
Soon
endless.
after, her wish came true. The queen gave birth to a little girl
My
whose skin
sweet
was
child.
white as snow, lips
I'll
red as blood,
always be
and
here
hair
to
black as
protect
ebony.
you.
She named her Snow White.
My
But
dearest,
alas, not long after
my
the child
love,
was born, the good queen
my
died,
only one.
leaving the king and the little princess alone. After some time, the
mirror
king
on
married
the
again.
wall. Who's the
The new
fairest
queen was very
of them
beautiful,
all?
but she was also proud, cruel, and vain.
Mirror.
She could not bear the thought
Mirror
of
on
anyone
the
being more
wall.
beautiful than
Who
herself.
is the fairest
Every day,
of them
she would
all?
stand before her magical mirror and ask,
Mirror,
"Mirror, mirror on the
mirror
wall,
on the
who is
wall.
the fairest of them all?"
Who is the fairest
And the
of
mirror
them
would
all?
always reply, "You, my queen, are fairest of them all."
Oh,
The
hello
queen
there,
was
my
pleased
sweet little
until
friend.
one day,
You are so
when Snow White grew
beautiful.
up to become a lovely young girl, kind, gentle, and graceful. One morning, when the queen asked her mirror the usual question, the mirror answered,
Mirror
"You,
on
my
the
queen,
wall.
are fair.
Who is the
It is true,
fairest
but
of
Snow
them
White is
all?
fairer than you." Hearing these words, jealousy filled the queen's heart like poison. She could not bear to see Snow White's beauty outshine her own. In a rage, she called
Take
for
her
her
to the
huntsman
jungle
and
and kill
commanded
her!
him, "Take Snow White into the
Please,
forest,
I beg of you.
kill her, and bring back her heart as proof." The huntsman, though loyal, was kind at heart. He led the innocent princess deep into the woods. When Snow White knelt before him, trembling and begging for her life, he could not do it. Instead, he said, "Run away, my poor child. The queen wants you dead. Never return to the palace." He then killed a wild boar and took its heart back to the queen, pretending it was Snow White's. Alone and frightened, Snow White wandered through the dark
Help!
forest.
Help!
The trees
Somebody
loomed
please
like
help me!
giants, and strange eyes seemed to watch her from every shadow.
Oh,
At last,
what a cute
exhausted
little
and weeping,
cottage.
she found a little cottage nestled among the trees. Curious, she stepped inside. Everything was tiny, tiny chairs, tiny dishes, tiny beds. The table was set for 7 people, and on it were 7 little plates and cups. Snow White was so hungry and tired that she ate a bit of bread and vegetables from each plate and drank a sip of water from each cup. Then she lay down across the 7 little beds and soon fell fast asleep. That evening, the owners of the cottage returned. They were 7 dwarfs who worked all day in the mountains mining for gold and jewels. When they entered, they saw that someone had been there. "Who's been sitting in my chair?
Who is she?
Who's been eating from my plate? Who's been drinking from my cup?" Then they found Snow White
I've
sleeping
never
across
seen
their
her
beds.
before.
The dwarfs
So
were
lovely
astonished
to
by her
be
beauty.
here with all of you.
"What a lovely child," they whispered. When she
We're
woke
so
up,
glad you
Snow
could
White
join
told them
us.
her sad story.
This soup
The
is
dwarfs
delicious.
felt pity for her and said, "If you will
Of
keep our
course it
house in
is.
order,
We made it
cook,
ourselves."
wash, and sew for us, you may stay, and we will
Mirror,
protect you."
mirror on
Snow
the
White
wall.
gladly agreed,
Who's the
and so she began a
fairest of
new,
them all?
peaceful life with the dwarfs. Back at the palace, the wicked queen stood
I
before
just
her
can't
mirror
take
once
it
more.
anymore.
"Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" To her horror, the mirror replied, "You, my queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White, beyond the mountains, with the 7 dwarfs, is fairer still than you." The queen trembled with fury. Snow White still lived. She vowed to destroy her once
Would
and for
you
all.
like an apple,
She disguised
dearie?
herself as an old
It's a
peddler woman
magic
and went to
wishing
the dwarf's
apple.
cottage while they were away. She knocked on the door calling, "Pretty
You
goods
should
for sale.
eat it.
Beautiful
You are so
laces."
skinny.
Snow
It's
White,
good
seeing
for
the kind
you.
old woman, opened the door.
The old
queen
woman
offered her a
was
colorful
so
lace
kind.
bodice and helped her tie it on. But she pulled the laces so tightly that Snow
Kind.
White fell to the floor, unable to breathe. Thinking her dead,
Oh no!
the queen
What's
hurried
happened
away.
to her?
When the dwarfs returned, they found Snow White lying lifeless. But they soon loosened the laces, and she began to breathe again. When she awoke, she told them what happened, and the dwarfs warned her.
Mirror.
"Never open the door
Mirror
to
on the
anyone when
wall.
we're away."
Who is the fairest
The queen,
of
upon
them
returning
all?
home, asked her mirror again, and when it told her Snow White still lived, she flew into a rage. This time she made a poisoned apple, half red, half white. The white half was safe, but the red half was deadly. Disguised as a poor old farmer's wife, she went once more to the cottage and knocked. Snow White hesitated, but the woman said, "See, child, I will eat the white half. You eat the red." Thinking it safe, Snow White bit into the red half and instantly fell to the ground, motionless. The queen laughed wickedly and cried, "Now, at last, the dwarfs cannot awaken you."
Oh no!
When she asked her
What's
mirror that
happened
night,
to her?
it finally replied, "You, my queen, are fairest of them all." Satisfied, the queen rested, never knowing that her evil would soon be undone. The dwarfs came home and found Snow White lying on the floor. They tried everything to awaken her, but she did not stir. Believing her dead, they made a coffin of glass so that she could still be seen and laid her inside. On the coffin, they wrote her name in golden letters, Snow White, beloved and beautiful. They kept watch over her day and night, and even the birds of the forest came to weep beside her. Time passed, days, weeks, months, but Snow White did not decay. She looked as lovely as if she were merely asleep. One day, a handsome prince was riding through the forest and came upon the dwarf's cottage.
Oh my
When he
God!
saw the beautiful maiden in the glass
What
coffin,
is that?
he was enchanted. "I cannot live without seeing her again," he said to the dwarfs. "Please let me take her to my palace. I will honor her as my most precious treasure." The dwarfs were reluctant, but saw how gentle and sincere he was, and at last they agreed. As his servants carried the coffin, they stumbled, and the piece of poisoned apple that had lodged in Snow White's throat was dislodged. She opened her eyes, breathed deeply, and looked around in wonder. "Where am I?" she asked. The prince, overjoyed, said, "You are safe. I am the prince who loves you more than anything in this world. Will you come with me to my castle?" Snow White smiled and said yes. The dwarfs rejoiced, and the forest seemed to sing with happiness. Soon after, the prince and Snow White were married in a grand ceremony. Invitations were sent throughout the land, including to the wicked queen. When she looked in her mirror that day, it said, "You, my queen, are fair, it is true. But the young queen is fairer than you." Mad with jealousy, she decided to attend the wedding, not knowing it was Snow White's. When she arrived and saw her stepdaughter alive and radiant, she turned pale with rage and envy. Her evil heart could not bear it, and she fell dead on the spot. Snow White and her prince lived happily ever after. The dwarfs visited them often, and peace returned to the kingdom. Moral of the story: goodness, kindness, and purity of heart will always triumph over envy and cruelty. True beauty lies not in appearance, but in a heart that is kind and full of love.